I've only been practicing this for like a week, and my god, do I feel more consistent than ever before. Crosshair placement. Sleeper topic, I know, but I came across a clip of arguably the best pro player in the scene right now, and it kind of made me question if I've ever really practiced my crosshair placement at all.
Wait a second. One man in the box.
One enemy remaining. 10 seconds left.
I got tagged him.
Now, you can't tell me your crosshair placement looks anything like that. I know mine doesn't, and I don't even see people with crosshair placement that good in like high mortal games. Do you know how easy kills become when you don't even have to move your crosshair?
One default.
One enemy
Default.
remaining.
Oh, this shit.
Now, obviously, I'm oversimplifying things a little bit, but seriously, you guys, if the best player in the world has crosshair placement like this, it's definitely something to take note of.
Man, I don't know if he's with anyone though.
Oh, this is
Joke's over! You're dead!
Cat main.
Enemy remaining.
Last guy's main. Ulting it.
Spike down mid.
There were a few elements that I found the most impactful when practicing this during the last week. Number 1, when holding angles, I try to make sure to keep my crosshair a bit away from the wall to compensate for my reaction time. That way I don't have to adjust my crosshair as much when the enemy peeks me. The only time I have found value out of holding my crosshair super close to the wall is when the enemy is jiggling the angle or peeking super close, which quite frankly doesn't seem to happen very often. If I'm expecting a wide swing, usually if they're making a lot of noise, I'll hold a little wider. If I'm expecting a close peek, I'll hold a little closer. Number 2, when peeking angles, I start with my crosshair in the wall to pre-aim the angle I expect the enemy to be at. Then I swing out to clear the angle. Optimally, your crosshair should be exactly where you're expecting the enemy to be by the time you expose yourself to the angle. I've noticed that the angles I expect enemies at change pretty drastically from round to round based on numerous factors. However, every map has common angles, which I typically use this technique to clear the majority of the time. I found it's important to give myself a couple of steps before exposing myself to the angle, otherwise my movement speed will be slow, making me an easy target. This would be similar to walk peeking every angle. It's just not great. Most of you guys aren't even subscribed watching this, so if you're finding my content helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel a lot. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. When moving around the map, walking or running, I found it's best to hold my crosshair similarly to how I would when holding angles. That being said, running around the map really just seemed to be a combination of the first 2 steps for me. If I was further from the angle than my enemies, I would keep my crosshair away from the angle a bit in case they peeked me while I was moving up closer to the angle. Once I was ready to peek common angles, or really any angles I was expecting the enemy to be at, I would move my crosshair into the wall and peek just like I did in step 2. With just these 3 steps, I found my confidence in gunfights to go up and my consistency too. Since I started practicing this, I've noticed it's much more unlikely for the enemy to catch me off guard because my crosshair is usually right where they're going to be anyways. One last thing I noticed was that there are certain situations where I couldn't effectively clear angles safely. An example of this would be if 2 angles were 180 degrees from each other. These are situations where I find it's best to just use some utility or collaborate with my team to clear it out. Anyways, hope this helps some of you guys out. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.